Hello, Centralia. I'm Shane Lothar.
And I'm Rachel Roddy.
And this is Centralia On Air. Thank you so much for joining us. Last week on the show, we had Tom Henniger and Debbie Clark from Kaskaskia College in studio. Tom and Debbie stopped by to tell us all about KC's adult education program. Speaking of going back to school, did you know there's enough graphite in one pencil to draw a single line for 35 miles?
Wow.
Right?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the person who had to test that out.
Definitely.
That would suck.
Put that on your resume.
Right.
With your pencil.
Well, did you know around 480,000 school buses carry 25 million kids to school every day?
Hey, that's a lot of kids.
That is a lot of kids.
Man, when my kids get a little older and they can ride the bus to school and I don't have to take them to daycare, that's going to be a game changer. I'm going to save like 5 minutes every morning. Just think of all the things I can do with that extra 5 minutes.
Like, a lot of things.
Like sleep in 5 more minutes.
Yep.
Well, that's something to look forward to.
That is. Tell them to get their backpacks together and stand by the door.
Yeah, do it yourself.
Pack your own lunch.
Anyways, that was last week. But this is this week.
That's right. On today's show, we've got Pam Bird from S.A.F.E in studio. Pam came by to tell us more about S.A.F.E and their crisis center.
Fair warning, today's interview is a little bit more of a mature topic, so if you've got little ears around, use your discretion.
All right, Pam, thank you so much for being here today. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm a mom and a grandma and a social service worker, as you might guess, by working for S.A.F.E. And I've actually worked for S.A.F.E since 1993. So for 24 and a half years, I have provided advocacy to victims of sexual assault.
Wow, that's great. Tell us what you do for S.A.F.E.
The advocacy part of S.A.F.E is providing crisis intervention, which means we could get calls from schools, from hospitals, from law enforcement, any other referral from like a social service or an organization. And what we would do is go in, for instance, at the police station, we would talk to them about victims' rights, but also explain the process. Going through a legal process with any kind of crime is very difficult, but when you have the sexual assault component, it adds another layer of trauma. So being there for them, being supportive and providing information. In the same way at the hospital, we are there to provide information and support. At the hospital, we are actually in the room when the evidence kit is being done. We provide a liaison for that client and all the entities that we are involved with. But we are also specially trained. So what that means is we've taken the SANE training, the sexual assault nurse examiner's training. Not that we do the kit ourselves, but we have a full understanding of not only what the nurse has to go through, the doctor, what the procedures are, what the lab recommends for the different samples of swabs. So we can be helpful to maybe a nurse that has never done a kit before. Mm-hmm. And I have run into that, obviously, over the last 24 and a half years.
Yeah. You've seen it all.
I've seen a lot. So that with that being said, we usually know the nurses when we go in there anyway, or they know about S.A.F.E services because we've been in there and maybe provided some training as well. And they are glad we're there because we can help them. They sometimes rely on us to help them make sure that they do the kit. They'll ask us questions about certain aspects of the kit. Yeah. And of course, our laws change all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So last year, what they did is they put in new forms. There were new consent forms and new discharge forms, and some of the nurses hadn't experienced that because they hadn't maybe been present when a kit was needed at one of the hospitals.
Right.
And so we keep abreast of all the new laws as well, whether it's legal or medical, et cetera, so that we can provide the best information and support to whomever is there. But again, our primary objective is to provide information and support and give our clients their rights.
And for those that don't know, S.A.F.E is actually an acronym, right? It stands for
Sexual Assault and Family Emergencies.
Okay.
And we're actually one of 29 centers in the state of Illinois under the umbrella of ICASA. ICASA is the Illinois Coalition Against Sexual Assault.
Okay.
So we're not a standalone agency. We actually adhere to their bylaws and their rules or regulations, our qualifications for all of our staff.
What all counties do you cover, Pam?
We have 11 counties. The very first county that we ever provided services for was in Fayette County,
Okay.
1986. But we cover Bond, Clay, Clinton, Effingham, Fayette. Hamilton is a new county for us. Jefferson is relatively new county. Marion, Washington, Wayne, and White counties. So you can see we're pretty spread out from Bond County, Clinton County, all the way down to Carmi. We have a lot of counties that we serve.
Yeah.
Thank goodness we are able to have 4 offices to help with those different areas. So we have an office in Vandalia, Centralia, Effingham, and Mount Vernon.
So the girls who go to the hospital, they're called advocates, right?
Medical advocates.
Medical advocates. How many of those work in each location? How many medical advocates do you have?
We have a total of 5 full-time advocates, and then we have crisis workers on the weekend. We actually have about 8 crisis workers so that they rotate in different areas. So we'll have a group of 4 in our areas up here, like the Bond, the Fayettes, the Marion, the Clinton, Clay counties. And then down in the Jefferson County area, there's 4 crisis workers also that will take care of that area. And the reason we felt a need to do that is because we're so spread out. So a girl that might be taking care of Hamilton, White counties couldn't get to Bond County in an appropriate time. Mm-hmm. And ICASA requires us to actually to be at a hospital or be at a police station within an hour or a little over an hour. Mm. They don't want you to be much longer than that because we are considered crisis workers. Right. So you don't want to have clients wait for hours. And actually, there's been times when a police department would call and say, well, I've got this client. And I said, well, I'll be there. Whatever amount of time. We always give them an ETA, estimated time that we're going to arrive. And if that client is, or at that time they're not a client, but a person that needs some assistance, we'll call her a survivor, or he, won't wait for us, we'll at least talk to them on the phone and try to make an appointment to get to them. Because sometimes people, they've already talked to the police, and by the time we get there, they just want to go home.
Yeah.
Sure. Now at the hospital, it's a little different. They will pretty much wait. Not 100%, but most of the time they're going to wait until we get there because we're in the room and we're providing assistance. The nurse has so much paperwork to do. Mm-hmm. There's so much documentation. Like she's constantly looking up at the clock to see what time she collected a specific specimen. So we provide that emotional support and information while the nurse is doing all the lab, what I call technical work. Did that answer your question?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Are any of the workers or advocates volunteer only, or are they employed with S.A.F.E and everything?
At this point, the girls that go out are all employees, either full-time or part-time.
Okay.
We do have some volunteers. We are actually looking to expand that program, so I'm glad you brought that up.
Okay.
So this coming year, we're going to look at doing what they call a 40-hour training. The law requires us to provide 40-hour trainings for all our staff, whether it's staff or whether they're volunteers. And we do provide that. And again, I didn't say that earlier, but our services are free. They're also confidential. But the volunteer training is also a free training for those who are willing to help us with answering the hotline and maybe doing referrals.
If someone wants to be a volunteer, how should they reach out to you guys?
They can call any of our offices, and the one number that can get to wherever they need is at 1-800-625-1414.
Okay.
And we are a 24-hour hotline. crisis center as well.
Right.
So whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning, whether it's Christmas, whether it's in the middle of the summer, it doesn't matter. Someone will respond 365 days out of the year.
That is awesome. I mean, I bet that's super important to be able to be reached at literally any moment.
With this type of crime and the experiences that people go through, which are traumatic, you never know when they're going to want to talk to someone. So there's always someone available to talk to. And in that process, there will be a type of assessment with the employee or the volunteer to see if there's other needs, whether it's to refer them or to call us advocates, then as soon as they can, the full-time advocates, and say, can you call this person, and she needs some additional help. And I'm constantly saying she because the majority of our clients are she.
Right.
Sure.
But we know, and we do, we have male clients. So we have male clients as well as female clients. And we work with absolutely everyone.
Tell us what a sexual assault is. What all does that include?
Sexual assault can be anywhere from pornography, sexual harassment, coercing. The actual sexual abuse, sexual assault is an unwanted sexual contact. So when we get those calls and we're reviewing what is the information that is giving to us, and not that we have to determine where it fits in the law, because there's variances of sexual abuse. You know, there's sexual abuse that is maybe touching above the clothes, and there's under the clothes. There's sexual assault, which would involve some type of penetration, maybe a dangerous weapon, threats. So the law is very detailed about the specific crimes that the police or the state's attorney can charge. So anything of an unwanted sexual nature would be the areas that we would help with. And we work with children as well as adults. We've had, yes, unfortunately. So we've had them as young as 3, and I think some of our oldest clients are now in their 80s. For those that, maybe what I call our older clients, what I find is many times they have never told anyone that there was sexual abuse in the past. And so that would be a counseling. They would do a lot of counseling, and that's the piece of our agency that we get more counseling than we do, say, the legal or medical. They say only 1 in 10 ever report, and I think we can all understand why.
Sure.
86+% are people that you know, whether it's family, acquaintances, coworkers, neighbors. Those are very difficult to report. It's very embarrassing. Many of our clients feel like nobody will believe them. Many of the offenders know how to put on a great persona to where you would never think that they would do something like that to a different individual. So I would say that probably the majority of our clients are counseling, and thank goodness we have counseling there. With that education piece that we have as well, we haven't talked about that as well. We go into as many schools will let us come in, and our educators see tens of thousands of kids a year. But you can imagine over all the counties how you would see that many children. So we will get disclosures from that as well. That also can be referred, say, to a counselor or maybe the advocate to see if there's something that maybe needs to be taken care of on a legal matter.
Yeah.
And of course, we're mandated reporters, so we will have to call the hotline if necessary.
Shane and Rachel here. You're listening to Centralia On Air. Stick around. We'll be right back with more from Pam Bird and S.A.F.E. You're listening to Centralia On Air with Shane and Rachel. We have Pam Bird from S.A.F.E. in studio today. Pam, what are some ways people can prevent sexual assault?
The preventive measures that we are looking at in our brochure are some helpful ideas, say at home, locking doors and windows, do not open your door to strangers, and be aware of your neighbors. Earlier when we were talking, when I was saying that 86% plus, depending on what statistic you're looking at, are people that you know, you're not always going to be concerned about opening up a door. Or the sexual assault can be happening at home. So I just want people to be aware that these are some possible measures.
Sure.
But the stranger sexual assault, stranger rape is much less common than acquaintance rape.
Okay.
However, let's move on to in the car. So if you're in the car, locking your doors. I've seen segments where on TV where you're filling up with gas and someone is getting in the side door, say if you're by yourself, and as you're filling up your gas, someone is getting in your car. So be aware of that.
That's one thing I do every time when I fill up my car. I turn it off, I get my keys, and I get out of the car, lock the car, and just hold my keys and fill up my vehicle. Never leave the car unlocked.
That is
because even
awareness.
somebody can even open that door and get your purse.
That is so true.
Or your kid.
Or your kid.
Sure. It can happen. And we live in rural Illinois, and we don't think that it's going to happen here.
Sure.
And that's why we have to remind ourselves. I think the whole key is when you're out and about, be aware of your surroundings.
That's very important.
I'm aware of people now when I go into any store. If I see something that makes you feel uncomfortable or seems odd, listen to that sixth sense. Listen to your gut feeling and go, not that you're going to act on it immediately, but be aware because you may need to or you may want to. And I'm so aware when I go into stores now of how adults are treating children. Or if they're following them to the dressing room or to the bathroom. Sometimes I think working in this field makes you definitely more skeptical, but it makes you also more aware.
Yeah.
Right.
So if we can prevent one child from being hurt,
You've done
then
your
it's
job.
been worth it. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, do you guys teach any classes or send people to self-defense classes?
We have, in conjunction with Clinton County Sheriff's Department, have done self-defense classes.
Okay.
And we've provided that.
Have you been a sponsor and encouraged people to get out and
We were actually going to do this for April, which is this month, our Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And there were so many things that got in the way, it just didn't happen.
Yeah.
But it's something that I definitely want to pursue again. I've actually talked to the lady that does the training, and she's welcomed us again. So that's something that maybe when we get that going again, we'll come back in and advertise it.
Yeah, definitely.
Here was another preventive measures. We're talking about if you're being followed. If you ever feel like you're being followed, go to your nearest police station. Don't stop, and do not go to your home or your place of work. We don't want whomever's following you to know where you work. And obviously, if you're going to a police station, that's probably not a place that they're going to want to be seen.
Right.
And there are a few little surveillance cameras around. So beware of that. When you are out, the buddy system is always great. Just makes sense to have a friend with you. So you're going to a place you're unfamiliar with, maybe. And us girls, we always go to the restroom and have a buddy with us.
We do that for a reason.
We do.
We don't goof off in the bathroom.
And, back to what we were saying before, be attentive to your surroundings, but also be assertive. Do not be afraid to intervene or to maybe tell a store manager or to tell someone, back off, stop. It's not always easy to do, but sometimes that is a very good role to play especially if you're alone. From what I have learned from different trainings I've gone to is if you can fight off an offender, scream, holler, make the most noise that you can, that draws attention to them, and a lot of times that can help scare somebody off. So it's very important to do that, but you have to be assertive and carry your cell phone. You can always push that number you always have 911 you can call.
Yeah, Shane, we were talking about that the other day with the iPhone, how you can push the side button.
Oh, yeah. Whether you have an iPhone or Android, probably. Everyone should probably know that you can usually do something with your lock button. On iPhone, it happens to be press it 5 times and automatically calls emergency services. So that saves you from having to unlock your phone, try to dial 911 or something. You just hit that lock button 5 times. And
what an excellent idea, because I've always thought of that too. You know, by the time you get your phone open and you get it slid open to the right page and get to phone, I mean, there's a few steps, and then you still have to make sure that you're dialing the right number.
Oh, yeah.
Very good information. I will check that out and pass that on. And another thing I have down here, it's actually on our folder, that is so very, very important. And I was just in a school. We had an incident in a school where there was some children acting out, and the principal asked S.A.F.E to come in. And he was so good about saying, it's not your fault. How important is that for all of us to say, sexual assault, sexual abuse of any kind is not your fault? And hopefully here's how we can help.
All right, Pam, is there anything we missed? Anything else you'd like to talk about?
I just want to make our audience aware that April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month. We have flyers that we have put out throughout all of our communities. The awareness that you're not alone. We want to let people know that we are here in a great deal of your listening area. We're here. Give us a call with the medical legal advocacy that the advocates provide, the therapy, group therapy with our counselors, and prevention in our schools. All of our services are free and confidential.
What was your hotline number again?
1-800-625-1414. And I would like to wrap it up with saying, we are funded by grants. So every year we are required to do some kind of community fundraiser. And we are going to do our 21st annual charity golf tournament at the Colonial in Sandoval on June the 4th, which is a Monday. It is a 4-ladies scramble. So all you ladies out there, we would love to have you. The cost is only $50, which includes 18 holes of golf, a cart, all the food you could ever want, from breakfast, lunch, and then we come in and have a full spread of food after the golf tournament.
Wow.
And there's door prizes, and there'll be all kinds of raffles and 50-50s. And this year, we're also doing the golf ball drop raffle, which we're only selling 300 chances for somebody's ball to go in the hole on the green, and you will be sharing half and half with us, and that person will get $1,500. And they're only $10 a ticket. We still have some left, but I can tell you they're going very fast.
I bet.
So if anyone is interested, please give us a call. They can use that 800 number. We'll just keep it simple and use the 800 number, and we will get you some tickets. And again, that's June the 4th at Sandoval, the Colonial Golf Course.
All right, Pam, thank you so much for being with us today, and we hope to have you back.
And I appreciate you having me come in again, and I'll be back.
All right, thank you.
stick around. We'll be right back. This is Centralia On Air. Shane and Rachel here. You're listening to Centralia On Air. Rachel, how you been?
I think I've been great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think that's good.
Yeah. It's getting warmer out finally.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in the 70s now.
Yeah.
I like that.
Some days.
Right? But I'm getting really excited for this coming weekend.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Big day this weekend.
Ooh, yeah, that's right. The big day. I've been looking forward to this all year. How about you?
Oh, yeah.
It's that magical time of year in early May when we can all come together and celebrate life with some good food, good people, and most importantly, remember an unlikely victory over a controlling empire. It's just a few days away. I can't wait. We all know what I'm talking about. Say it with me. Star
Cinco de
Wars
Mayo.
Day.
What?
Huh? You thought I meant...
I thought you were talking about...
I just assumed we were on the same page.
I don't think so. I guess not. Well, we got to do a Cinco de Mayo top 5, right? I mean, 5, Cinco, May's the 5th month.
I suppose, okay. But I was really excited to talk about Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with you, right?
Well, what are we going to do then?
Oh, I know. We can talk about Cinco de Mayo, but we'll sing about May the 4th.
You'll sing about May the 4th.
Okay, sure. I'll sing about it. This song's called The Chosen One. Chosen one, not the one, the right one, they were wrong. Then to restore balance to the fold.
Wow. Let's just say I'm glad that's over.
Yeah, well, it's probably a good thing it is over because, did you see what time it is?
No. What time is it?
It's time for the top 5.
All right. Finally, something interesting. Cinco de Mayo is almost here. But do you know everything there is to know about it? Maybe not. So Shane and I are going to give you our top 5 things you probably didn't know about Cinco de Mayo.
Or for our Hispanic listeners, las 5 cosas que no sabías sobre Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, very nice.
Thank you.
So your New Year's resolution is going well, I guess, to learn Spanish?
Well, I downloaded the app,
Yeah?
and that's it so far.
Well, how'd you learn what you just said?
Never mind about that. I Googled it. You know, Google Translate, whatever.
You did learn something, so.
Yeah, sure. Cinco.
Cinco.
Did you know cinco means 5 in Spanish?
No. Really?
Yeah, crazy. Locos.
Well, baby steps, I guess. All right, number 1. Let's just get this out of the way. Cinco de Mayo is not a celebration of independence. Mexico's Independence Day is actually September 16th. Cinco de Mayo is the celebration of Mexico's victory in the Battle of Puebla on May 5th, 1862, during the French-Mexican War.
It was an unlikely win for Mexico since they were heavily outnumbered by the French. The victory became a source of pride for the country and is the reason we continue to celebrate today.
And here's a bonus thing you might not have known. While the Mexican army did win the Battle of Puebla on May 5th, the French actually went on to win the war, occupying the region for 5 years.
Whoops. Which leads us to our number 2 pick. It's not even a federal holiday in Mexico.
That's right. Our Cinco de Mayo celebration is probably bigger than Mexico's, unless you live in Puebla maybe. Cinco de Mayo just really isn't that big of a deal for the rest of the country. President Franklin Roosevelt enacted the Good Neighbor Policy in 1933 to improve relations with Latin American countries, which helped popularize Cinco de Mayo here in the U.S.
Some of the biggest Cinco de Mayo parties are actually held in Denver, New York, Phoenix, and Houston. Chandler, Arizona celebrates with a Chihuahua race. I'd like to see that.
Me too.
But the world's biggest Cinco celebration takes place in Los Angeles, California.
And speaking of LA, that leads us to number 3. According to the California Avocado Commission, Americans consume up to 81 million pounds of avocados on Cinco de Mayo every year. Holy guacamole!
You've just been dying to say that.
I have.
All week.
All week. Holy guacamole.
Here's a bonus thing you maybe didn't know. Avocados are like a superfood. They are packed with tons of nutrients, naturally sodium and cholesterol free, and they have the good kind of fat your body actually needs. Hey, true or false? the avocado is a fruit.
True.
Correct. Ding, 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 ding.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay, so number 4, or as they say in Mexico, número 4. Cinco de Mayo colors are typically the same colors of the Mexican flag. But what do those colors mean? Well, the red represents the blood spilt by national heroes, the white is for purity and unity, and the green represents hope and independence. In honor of Cinco de Mayo's iconic colors, be sure to eat chiles en nogada, a dish consisting of green chilies, white sauce, and red pomegranate seeds that perfectly represent the Mexican flag.
And last but not least, number 5 on our Cinco de Mayo list. While it's no surprise that Americans like their tequila, did you know that the United States consumes twice as much tequila as Mexico?
Oh, well.
I know. Where it originally came from?
Yeah, we're talking like 12 million cases per year. Illinois is actually one of the top 10 states for tequila consumption.
Wow.
Way to go, Rachel.
I know, right? I do love a good margarita. And that brings us to margaritas, which is made up of mostly tequila, is the country's most popular cocktail. But it's not all about margaritas on Cinco de Mayo. Beer sales top 600 million on Cinco de Mayo. That's more than the Super Bowl and St. Patrick's Day.
Well, that's our top 5 things you probably didn't know about Cinco de Mayo. Go out and celebrate this Saturday, school your friends a little bit, and most importantly, drink responsibly.
You're listening to Centralia On Air with Shane and Rachel. When we come back, we're going to take a look at the community calendar. So stick around, we'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Centralia On Air with Shane and Rachel. Here's a look at your community calendar. Trivia night at Ashley Grade School on Friday, May 4th. Doors open at 6, $10 per person, and all proceeds benefit stage floor improvements. For more information, contact Angela Smith at 618-485-6611.
Salem Community Center is hosting Glow Bingo on Saturday, May 5th. Doors will open at 6 p.m. and bingo will start at 7. $25 per person and over $1,000 in cash prizes. There will be a cash bar, concession stand, and 50-50 raffle. For more information, call 548-6261.
The Locust Street Historical Fair on Saturday, May 5th from 10 to 2. There will be crafters, food vendors, antique car show, and historical presentations.
Mother's Day Bingo on Saturday, May 5th from 2 to 5 p.m. at the Centralia Moose Lodge. There will be door prizes and a dessert table.
Centralia Cultural Society is hosting a Spring to the Dance of Life on Sunday, May 6th at 2 p.m. Tickets will be available at the door. Adults $8 and 12 and under $4.
Centralia Youth Football 4-person scramble at Greenview Golf Course on Saturday, May 12th. Shotgun starts at 12. For more information, you can call Clint at 532-0922 or Reed at 532-7391.
Mount Vernon Festival Fun Night on Saturday, May 12th from 6 to 9 at Mount Vernon American Legion. Food, games, and fun. Tickets are $10 in advance. For more information, call 242-3151.
The first annual Warrior Nation Cancer Foundation Golf Scramble on Saturday, May 19th at Colonial Golf Course. Shotgun starts at 10 a.m., $65 per person or $240 per team. Food, drinks, and door prizes included. All proceeds raised by WNCF will help cancer patients with living expenses. For more information and to sign up, call the golf course at 247-3307.
Spring book sale at the Centralia Regional Library will be held in the Munkin Activity Room on Saturday, May 19th from 10 to 4.
Market days in Mount Vernon at Veterans Park on the first Saturday each month starting May through September from 8 to 2 p.m.
And a look at your local blood drive this week, Wednesday, May 9th at the Dix Community Center from 2 to 6. That's a look at your community calendar on X95 and the Big 1210. If you have an event you would like to share with us, you can email wiley1210@gmail.com, or for more information about these events and others, check out our website at x95radio.com.
Well, that's it for this week. If you like what you hear, come back every Sunday at 11 on X95 and the Big 1210. You can find past shows on YouTube, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook at X95WRXX. She's Rachel Roddy.
And he's Shane Lothar.
And this was Centralia On Air.